In today's podcast, Ryan and I have a casual conversation about meeting financial people and how those introductions normally go and how they flow. And we had a lot of fun recording this, and we hope that you enjoy listening. Thank you. Hello, my name is James Neathery. Welcome to the Banking with Life podcast. I'm your host. Our co-host here, Mr. Ryan D. Griggs himself and in person.
Nailed it. How you doing, y'all?
Where are you from, boy?
I live in West Texas. 3 years this July, August, so that counts.
Perfect.
I can use your words.
That's right. All right, so we're pretty much gonna have, even though there's a lot of notepads here and you take copious notes as usual, we're gonna have kind of an unscripted conversation, right?
Yeah, I mean they're all unscripted, but that's kind of the point of the podcast is we just capture what we talk about sitting out at your pool anyway.
Well, we can't talk about some of that stuff. so this will be what we can talk about.
This is made for the internet, made for YouTube, made for public consumption.
Yeah, but we don't really. We don't really edit topics.
There's
here.
not really. We're both difficult to censor in the first place, so.
Quite frankly, I like touching a third rail every now and then.
Yeah. I wish I knew where that metaphor came from.
I don't want to be in New York touching the third
rail. In Texas, we can and get away with it.
That's right. All right. So what do you want to throw out first?
Well, I had a good story from this past week. Here we are in, Mid-May 2019.
And we love good stories.
Yeah, so I went to a Chamber of Commerce event out in Lubbock, Texas, where I live now.
And the land is flat.
Where everything, it's just, for as far as the eye can see, just nothing. But we had they call it a business after hours.
Sure.
A social hour.
Every town probably has one.
Right, or one of these, one of the banks hosts it. Right? So you're making all that money off of interest and principal that never existed prior to their having lent it out.
When every business after hours social has to have a bank sponsoring it, right?
Absolutely. Money's got to come from somewhere. Nobody's going to pay for it otherwise.
So now you're going to tell me you met a financial professional there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Met a couple younger, maybe my age or younger. And wife had just started her real estate career, and husband had completed a graduate program in personal financial planning.
At Texas Tech?
At Texas Tech.
Good program.
From what I hear, yeah.
If you're going to go get a CFP, a Certified Financial Planner designation, copyright, and then pay annually for the use of that trademark, it's a good place to get the prerequisite studies done, before you take the test.
There's not a lot of programs out there in the country that do it, so is that you're throwing up the gang signs? Oh, yeah, the guns up, yes.
No, I'm like, I lived outside of Lubbock years and years ago. I like Lubbock. I like
Lubbock, too.
Yeah, so we're not beating up.
And they like their bankers. And we like them because they provide an open bar at the Chamber of Commerce events. So I'll take it. And I'm driving on the way there, and it's like, why not go and enjoy?
Did they have security?
No, not in Lubbock. Everybody's armed. You don't need security.
Perfect.
So we get to talking to this guy. I forget his name. Doesn't matter, but
unless he's going to listen.
Well, he might remember me. He probably does because I kind of went right at him, but in a polite way. Works for a small little, money management house, family office kind of deal. And
in the bank.
No.
The bank hosted. This is an attendee.
Right.
I got it. Okay.
Right. So we exchanged the pleasantries. Oh, where you from? What's your name? All
Do you have a business card?
Do you have a business card? And I'm like, nope, I don't. I got a cell phone number and a website. And it's 2019, so you can have either one of those if you want. Yeah. I don't. And they always a little offended at first. And it's like, oh, yeah, I have a supercomputer in my pocket. They
stop reaching for their card.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So Exchange, I wasn't interested in his number, but he took mine and website and everything, and very typical. A lot of people, we were talking about this before, don't really know how those conversations go, agent to agent. Financial professional to financial professional.
If you're outside of the professional financial industry, they don't really. They're not. The average individual's not privy to these conversations between financial gurus or professionals.
Right. So, and you would never really think about it anyway, but just
I can't imagine anyone getting up today and say, "Oh man, I'd like to, photobomb a conversation between a couple of financial gurus." Yeah.
But they do happen. The conversations happen. We see each other at the same events and everything, and they don't think much about it either. So when one person learns that one's in finance and the other person learns that the other's in finance, the little tension level rises slowly. And
the side-eye begins, sizing up the competition.
Well, they immediately know that you're not a prospect, right? So you're now out of that line.
Sure, they're a little deflated. Dang,
yeah, you get the shoulders drop a little bit. They relax. They know that they're no longer. They can set the script aside in their mind. Right, they can just talk, and most of them, it's not a slant or anything. They have a script and they got a program and the whole thing. And
they're probably good people,
Yeah, I always assume angelic intentions.
I love that.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure he's just as angelic as the next guy. So, and he seemed fine, no problem with him. But they do have a script. They got a program in mind, and so when you get them off that, now you get the industry talk, you get the industry side of things, right? And he was very polite. He's like, "So what do you do?"
Yeah, what do you do?
Oh, non-traditional finance.
No, what is
non-traditional? What does that mean? Well, have you heard of the infinite banking concept? No, haven't heard of it. Most of them.
How long have you been doing this? Long time. You ever heard of that?
No. But what is it? Right. So what is it? Well, and let's go right to the point. Hey, take a particular kind of dividend-paying whole life from a certain company. Wait it to the PUA. Wait the premium to the PUA so you can accumulate cash, and they know some of those words. Like they recognize.
I don't speak the language, but I can identify that one word.
They're like, they heard life insurance
and cash.
Okay, so you're life insurance agent, premium, cash value,
And all life insurance is the same, so.
Well, yes, and so that was the response.
And they probably have a life insurance license, right? Yeah. So they're
So, we do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that. But we use VL and VUL and IUL.
Variable universal life, and then indexed universal life, which I have to say, when it first came out, it was equity indexed universal life.
Yeah.
But you got to drop that equity.
Whatever the current brand name is. And I was like, oh, okay. So like a term replacement. And that was that way. So we started walking through the way that they use the IUL.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we pay the premium, and then the idea is over time you build up the cash value, and you have enough cash there so that it can pay for the death benefit. And as he's talking, he's like, "Oh, yeah, as a term replacement." Oh, okay, yeah. So we do it for something different. Like that's not what we do, right? This is for capital accumulation. And then kind of go into the whole bit about you're using capital. Everybody in here is using capital, whether they know it or not. Most of them are relying on their relationship with the building we happen to be in, this bank.
You came to the social to increase your capital some way over some period of time.
And
but you don't have any social capital with me.
But that's really what I was getting at, is that, you talk to a conventional financial person at your local family office or at the local major brand name firm, and you mention the infinite banking concept, they probably don't know what that is, but they've never heard those three words put together in that way before. But as soon as you start talking about the product, particular asset, life insurance, whole life, and cash value, and building for cash. It's always, without exception. Oh, we can do that.
Oh, we've been doing that for years.
We can do that.
Oh, yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. And I even had that experience with a very good friend of mine back home. Is in the mainly property and casualty insurance business, but his dad also had a life license, and it's through State Farm, particular company. And so when I first got into infinite banking, he asked, I hadn't heard the term. Well, what do you mean by that?
Thank goodness there's an acronym, right?
Yeah.
IBC.
Yeah. And so I told him, I was like, oh, yeah, we've done that before. We've done that before.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever you hear that, it's like, in my mind, it's like, why isn't that all you do then? Like, to me, it's infinite banking checks so many boxes. It's like, well, if you really do get what's going on, if you do understand the problem, if you do understand where people are getting hit hardest financially, which is on the lending side, everything they do in the consumer world, the house, the cars, the Medicare, anything they're spending for, the business, everything. If you really know where the problem is, which is in that world, and you know that you're solving that issue, you know that infinite banking allows the individual to take control of that capital accumulation and use function, and eliminating that dependency and all the other costs associated with it. It's like, what else do you have that would be better?
Well, portfolio, man. Get a higher rate of return.
Investing.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, too, another, we're getting beat up on the cost of capital, no question. And then, oh my gosh, abdicating our responsibility to perform the banking function. So someone else is profiting from that. But then, in addition to that, we also, all of us enjoy, living in the land of the free, right? It costs money.
Yeah.
They don't have any money. So, and I'm speaking directly toward taxation, no question the cost of capital is an uphill battle. If you don't do something about it, you're not going to win that game most of the time. But then taxation. And I'm bringing taxation up because of the time period that we're in at this recording. And, like last week was the last, we're in Texas, so we have very high property tax in Texas. And one day last week was the last day to protest your property appraisals, right? And we all experience this, and we all pay our taxes, and we know that the appraisal, you've got to go and you've got to perform a pretty good effort to keep the taxing entity at bay and in check from overvaluing your property. But just going through that whole process, I got all triggered again last week, while I'm protesting my taxes. Because here we are in a real estate market that I think most of us could agree that we're in a bubble.
Oh, sure.
Right, because the cost of capital being so cheap. Well, hell, it should be cheap. It didn't exist until you collateralized it and promised to repay it. Okay, I digress a little. But, just think about that. Just go through that thought process with me. Every year, they're increasing the appraised value of your property, right? And, they can justify it, right, with comps because, property is selling because money is so cheap. And I'm not saying that's the only reason why property is selling, but we're in a bubble. The appraised values continue to go up. And then when the bubble corrects, all bubbles correct when? I don't know. Who knows when? Not me, okay? But when the real estate market does correct, I mean, how quick do you think they're going to call me and send me a letter and say, oh, we're going to lower your appraised value? I mean, over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's just one more way that the government's getting deeper and deeper into your pocket.
Right. And every one of those dollars is a dollar that's not kept under your own ownership and control, that's not working for you.
All right. Producing more.
Yeah. So the takeaway is not, dodge your taxes. The takeaway is build a system that like Nelson used to say, allows you to control the environment that you're in. That gives you a tailwind.
Yes.
So that those nicks and cuts and kicks to the side and all the various taxes and costs.
Well, look, did your financial friend want to, schedule some time with you to figure out what you're doing?
Yeah, I told him, I said, I'm teaching a 8-hour course on this in a couple months. Matter of fact, end of June. And he's like, "Oh, do you think you could do?" What did he say? Do you think you could do an abridged version, like over like half hour or 10 minutes on a phone call?
Can you share with me? Can you tell me about this while we're here? I gotta go, but I have a minute.
I'm like, yeah, let me take 8 hours. I'll shorten it down to 30 minutes. But I said, yeah, give me a call.
Don't you have an elevator speech?
Shoot me a text message or something. Hasn't happened yet, miraculously.
You probably blocked his number, didn't you?
I haven't gotten it, although I get all these unwanted phone calls all the time. I do block, but no, hadn't called, hadn't heard from him. But that's okay. That's standard.
I mean, the same we experience in the infinite banking world. Nelson Nash Institute, somebody legitimately practicing the infinite banking concept, not, I have a license and I do that, we do that. And then, oh my God, the things that they create. I've seen them. You can see them. They're all on the internet. The Universal Life. I mean, they illustrate beautifully, and you see all that going on. But whenever you talk about the infinite banking concept, because you're asked or prompted, it's not like you're running around,
nope,
trying to tackle people to get them to listen to your elevator speech. But invariably, it always gets to, oh, yeah, we've done that for 20 years. Oh, I read Nelson's book 30 years ago. My dad used to do that. My uncle was a life insurance agent. In whatever reference that they have, they always share that with you.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a licensed. I used to sell life insurance. My dad sold life insurance. Oh, yeah, we did that. My dad funded my college out of his life insurance policy. So the implied is, well, everybody does this. Everybody's been doing it if you have life insurance, and everybody can do it. And at the end of the day, if you have a permanent life insurance policy with cash value, there are loan provisions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can collateralize the cash value, but that does not mean you're practicing the infinite banking concept at all.
No, it's so much more. And I get frustrated sometimes when, we do that. Yeah, we do that. Everything you've built and worked for now. We do that. It's one of our.
Well, I want to know. I was in the life insurance industry 14 years before I read Nelson's first book, Becoming Your Own Banker. 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was paying attention, working pretty hard, and doing okay. I'd never heard of it. Been with all kinds of life insurance companies. Went through all kinds of training programs. Why didn't I ever hear of it? If everybody knows it and everybody can do it, why didn't one single life insurance company, just one, say, "Oh, look at what you can do here"?
Mm-hmm.
Not one. I think if they'd have known, they might have told me. And
if they understood it.
Well, they'd have to really know or be aware of it to even attempt to understand it. Right? So I'm not sure that they were aware of it.
But that's a valid question. It's how do you know? Like, when I hear that, how do we know that they don't know? And I think one way that you can know that they don't know is when they're consumed with the investment side.
Well, that's one sure sign.
Yeah. And that's what most of them are. It's, are you securities licensed? There's a big way, because it's no joke to get that damn securities license.
Which one?
You name it. It's where you can sell securitized products or charge money to advise about what people ought to do or
right.
That. So if they went through all of that to then offer that product suite, that's where their odds are spending the majority of their time.
In training.
In training, and then with the client.
Yeah, no question. So when they get to the investment aspect, right? Would you say that again? I don't.
Yeah. So I think it's one way to know whether or not someone truly does understand the infinite banking concept is whether or not they spend so much time on the investment side.
Sure.
And I think infinite banking, life insurance people are sort of, it's not spoken, it's not direct, like you're not directly looked down upon, but you're considered lesser than if you're just a life insurance person.
Oh my gosh, right? Yes. And don't have a securities license.
Right. Oh, you just do that. It's like, and so the implicit assumption is that what we do over in the investment world is superior.
Sure.
Right. That's more sophisticated. After all, it's more complicated, so it must be more sophisticated.
Which will justify the fees that I charge.
All of the fees, yeah. That pay for the nice office and the nice car.
You can't do this
and the nice suit.
Advisor.
Yeah. And you got to start to question that. I've just come to the point where it's like, can't allow that little assumed superiority complex that they've got going on to throw you off, because at the end of the day, they're not really solving this. Insofar as we're financial professionals, we're supposed to be dealing with the problems of finance. That's just not where the problem is. The problem isn't that we have insufficient rate of return.
Well, it always gets down to the rate of return.
Yeah.
When talk about anything concerning money, and it's what's the interest rate? What's the rate of return? Mm-hmm. What's the ROR? What's the ROI? It's like just chasing that rate of return.
Yeah, and I really think that it's come from what we're all just conditioned and programmed to think about when it comes to money is that we're sort of operating from an investment paradigm.
No question.
And that's even in academia. I mean, the whole financial economics world is just asset allocation, portfolio theory. That's all it is. There's nothing beyond that. It's so, talk about pigeonholed and fragmented. All of economics, there's all kinds of economics, right? There's micro, macro, labor, international, monetary, money and banking, agricultural,
and plenty of articles to go with them. Oh my gosh.
Hundreds of journals, right? Every different field has its own journal.
And then we need to get tenure.
Yeah.
We're going to be in academia.
So the whole system is all fragmented, and it's happened in finance too. I
need to be justified.
That's what happens.
Validated.
That's what happens and we can talk about that too. I mean, it's a non-market establishment. Nobody gets a lifetime position selling anything in the market without providing legitimate goods and services along the way that it keeps them in business. Only in academia do you have this unique thing called tenure.
Well, wait a minute. You were describing a free market. Now you're sliding off into.
And that's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Is that it's not a market institution, and it's certainly not in the modern day. I mean, when everything's state funded one way, either the state and the federal government directly send money to the universities, or the universities
fund their Black Ops research.
Or the universities acquire the money from the students who are funded by federal loans.
Oh, we're talking about economics. I'm sorry.
Right. They're all over the place.
Well, while we're touching third rails, I mean, you went from a financial guy to the academic.
I'm coming back around.
Oh, sure I'm coming back around. I'm just, adding some scenery.
But it's also fragmented, and that's why, when you, except first, over the first year that I was in the infinite banking world, it's like, why is it like this? Like, I'm, so naive and idealistic. It's like, I found something really great here. Let's just do this. But why is the whole industry set up against it or so antagonistic towards it? And I really think it's their own intellectual shallowness. It's like you haven't even considered what finance is. and like here we are supposed to be. Go ask your advisor, or go find one. Ask them what the definition of finance is, or go find 5 and ask each of them, and you'll get 10 different answers.
Sure.
So we don't need what they're really doing is they're just technical salespeople for a particular slice of the financial industry, which is the investment world, Wall Street.
Now let's get down to it. Somebody's getting paid.
Yeah, which and now look, get paid. I mean, I have no problem with that, right?
No, I'm a capitalist.
Yeah.
No. I'm just saying why are these things happening? Why is this paradigm constructed like it is, and everybody staying within the construct?
Right. And that's why these blogs online about how people who sell whole life or infinite banking people, make such high commissions.
Oh my God. It's
like you clearly don't understand what we're doing.
Well, it's either that or I see the I see the people on YouTube, that talk about infinite banking or IBC or Nelson Nash Institute, and they mention that, if a policy's not constructed this particular way with, at least this amount going to the cash value or the paid up additions and this going to the base, that it's not constructed correctly. And universal life is, the best because you can do all of these things that actually illustrate more cash value in the early years, and it illustrates better. And, they get paid better. I see them beating up the infinite banking concept, and the one of them that I really like was, those IBC guys, they just want you to read a bunch of books. It's like, my God, it would do you good to read a book. It'd be okay. I mean, find one that you like. Reading is still okay, right? But I'm just saying.
You brought up UL. The guy at the chamber event mentioned UL, of course, as I said, and so. My favorite question is, what interest rate do you illustrate at?
Yeah.
And he had to think about that one for a minute.
I don't know. I can't build the illustration. It's whatever the back office builds.
Literally exactly what he said.
Seriously.
is we don't build them, they build them.
That's right. I don't know how to build them. I just sell them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Seriously. And said it like no problem saying
You know what one of my favorite questions is when talking to a financial guru or a financial professional. I'm not disparaging any financial professional. Okay. I'm just having fun with my friend, Ryan, sharing on a podcast.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, I do that. We do that, but we do it with Universal Life. Oh yeah, we've been doing that a long time. 2 questions. All right. How much life insurance premium do you pay? How long you been doing that?
It's so good, you must be buying it up, right?
Oh yeah. And they'll throw out big numbers, like a couple $100 a month. How long have you been doing it? Well, I've been working over here for 3 years, but they've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But he finally did tell me the interest rate, 6%.
I wonder why.
6% a year.
I wonder why. Wow. Just right under the limit that the NAIC, National Association of Insurance Commissioners, limited what interest rate could be illustrated on universal life insurance policies about 3 years ago. Now, why would they have to limit it, the illustration?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
6% a year. Wow. You're going to need it to cover that exponentially rising cost of death benefit later in life. So
I really like
hopefully it comes.
I like watching them squirm.
How
much life insurance premium do you pay?
I now enjoy it.
All right.
I now enjoy it. I've learned.
It's like a hobby.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, we got to go. Okay, well, it's great to meet you. Yeah,
the bar's still open.
We clean them out, man. Come on.
You don't miss one.
You got to take advantage of that free. They've pilfered the local public, so might as well get in while the getting's good.
Somebody paid for it. Right? Yeah. All right. Well, what else? Come on. If we're going to touch the third rail, let's touch it. Or are there any others that you'd like to touch? I mean, you're kind of beating up academia a little bit, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
And the financial industry as a whole, as I greatly enjoy.
Well, the thing that comes up time and again is, life insurance.
Oh my God. Ooh,
it's
the worst
life
thing
insurance. Ever. I spoke with the person online, found me through Facebook, and I'm no issues or anything. Seems nice, and we had
what do you mean? You have a bunch of stalker ads and tracker ads on Facebook that
no,
pop up
I don't do any of that.
Okay, thank
Somebody was kind enough to tag me in a comment thread, and so I explained who I was and everything. And even in this nice, perfectly amicable conversation, this individual is asking, what should I do to learn more? But
did they read?
What this individual said was, I don't want to speak to an agent because they're just going to try to sell me something. Right? Someone's just going to try to sell me some life insurance.
Look, my car's broke down, but I don't want to talk to a mechanic.
That's so good. It's so right. But it's not malicious. People just have this gut feeling that a life insurance person is just going to try to rip them off.
Yeah.
And there are people out there who have that coming. But at the end of the day, there's also people out there who are working in a legitimate industry, providing a legitimate product, and also providing the service to understand how to use it and how you can use it in the future and how to grow the system and what that's going to do for you. So I don't know. I wish there was an easier way to overcome it. People don't have that. Just like in the auto mechanics, people don't have some do. They think, it's hard to know the price of labor, and so maybe the cost is a little higher or anything. But you got to get it done, so you go get it done or whatever.
We've all worked on our cars when we were young, and repaired things. I mean, I'm just saying it's like. I was alluding back to, of course, life insurance. Everybody does that, We've been doing that forever.
Oh, yeah.
So if I can change an alternator, which I can't, I can do anything. I just don't want to do everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't mean I know how to do it in a modern day car, is all I'm saying. But too, when it comes to life insurance, I'm convinced, I learned it from Nelson. He said it, and it's true, that most people's understanding of life insurance is based on someone else's misconception. Mm-hmm. That's so true.
Yeah.
That what we're talking about with the infinite banking concept, and let's go back, Nelson, with Becoming Your Own Banker, the first book, he was buying policies since he was 13 years old, right? Just passed away a couple of months ago at age 88. They didn't have paid up additions riders. That was straight whole life insurance. 13. Mm-hmm. He bought his third policy by the time he was 21, I believe. He became a licensed life insurance agent in 1964. So by the time he wrote his book, which was printed in 2000, right? But he talks in the first part of his book, he tells his story in the background of how all this came together, and there's Austrian economics and forestry. He gives you all that background, or a lot of it. The man was paying $18,000 a year in life insurance premium in 1980. Look around. Yeah. Who do you know paying $18,000 a year in life insurance premium?
And even today's dollars.
Yeah, not the guy you meet at the business social, right? Selling indexed universal life.
No.
Right. Yeah. So. And he didn't quit buying. That's just what he was paying up. He continued paying high premium in life insurance. Wonder why? Because he knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you do. The consumer, right? It's still caveat emptor, buyer beware. You got to be able to properly classify things. Man, I count on your ability to call BS. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You got to be able to properly classify, separate the riffraff.
Well, the best the conversations I enjoy having the most are from people who have gone through other conversations with other people in the financial world and have battle scars and stories to tell.
Now, wait a minute. You can't get battle scars from stories.
Well,
I understand
emotional trauma, you could say. All right.
Well, you can. Never mind. Take that back.
Of how they were, how they were dealing with the salesperson, and everything was a sales pitch, and they could feel it. You don't know what it is really. Can't put your finger on it, but something about the way they talk, or the general appeal, the tone of voice, whatever it is. Something just sounds fishy or seems off, or they're getting an illustration in your hand real quick that.
Talking about interest rates, internal rate of return,
or what the death benefit is day one, and they know that something is wrong, but not exactly what, right? And they're just looking for answers. So they have this list of questions where it's just like, well, explain. I don't understand. Like, what? How should the PUA premium be compared to the base? And what's going to happen to the death benefit? And do we have to trade off death benefit for cash value?
I just want to pay for the cost of the insurance.
Yeah, it's all these questions. And so little things that...
And what's a corridor? We had a conversation earlier yesterday about the corridor and terminology within the industry. And when there's certain types of life insurance, they all have kind of their own terminology, right? So when you use the word corridor, it specifically is talking about universal life. So... that's the reason I threw that out there, and I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Yeah.
So,
well, they have all those little questions about little words they've picked up there, a phrase here, or something.
And they could be what I have found. They're legitimate questions because they really want to understand, right, and how to do it correctly, and if they even want to participate, right. And I appreciate your enjoyment from, you enjoy the conversations that you have with people that have had previous conversations with financial gurus, and I respect that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool. You can spend an hour and a half just getting to know each other, really. You're just having a conversation, and, it winds up. You end up with the coolest relationships.
No question about that.
Yeah. Like, I have clients spending tens of thousands of dollars on their first policy. It's a significant chunk of their income, right?
Sure is.
And we're just, texting back and forth, middle of the night. He's got a question, fires it off. And, okay, shoot him back and answer. That's, for that
24/7. This young man works. I'm just saying, 24/7, 7 days a week. You at least
absolutely
go to church, don't you? No.
I do actually.
Do you even text from the bar at the?
Sometimes you got to put the phone away.
At the business social.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll pause a local event that really is just you're hanging out, but you got someone to take care of. You take care of them.
I got to say the most enjoyable conversations that I have. Typically, they have had previous conversations. There's no question. But they have spent time reading, not researching, right?
Yeah.
There's this broad research, and the only thing I have to say about research, briefly, right? If Christopher Columbus would have done his research in 1490, what would his research have provided him, do you think? It was nothing more than a general consensus that the world's probably flat and you might fall off.
Right.
So I'm talking about reading, particular books, watching particular videos.
Studying, really.
Yeah, studying, vetting it, really doing the vetting, right? Those are the most enjoyable conversations because if you do your research, you'll be able to vet these people and even books and videos that are BS that is not right. They're trying to sound like they know what they're doing and what they're talking about.
Of a particular one at the moment.
Oh my gosh. And once, because if you, I believe what I've come to find, right? I didn't just wake up this morning and say, I'm going to believe this, right? It's happened over time that, if you're legitimately researching the infinite banking concept by going to the source, Birmingham, Alabama, the original works of Nelson Nash, Nelson Nash, Becoming Your Own Banker, Building Your Warehouse of Wealth, and the videos associated with that, people that were directly related or tied to in the beginning, learned from Nelson, that practice, right? It'll just help you make a decision, whether it's good, bad, swipe left, swipe right. But it'll help you vet, right, some of the smoke and mirrors and the pixie dust that is being presented as legitimate on the internet. Those are the conversations that I have found most enjoyable. Of course, they have not only spoken with the financial guru several conversations, but they also have the experience. They've done the IRA, the 401k. They've done however old they are and whatever profession that they're in. And they've done these things, right? They've had the lines of credit at 10, 12, and 14%. Things don't go right. The bankers start showing up, converting them to notes. And then they start calling the notes and seasoned collateral. Some of that experience, right? Those are, because it's people are beautiful. You develop great relationship with really smart people. A little weird, but a little weird's okay.
A little weird's perfect.
Yes, those are the conversations that I have enjoyable. They've done their homework. They have been exposed to the financial gurus, and they have enjoyed the results of conventional, typical financial advice. And man, they want a solution.
Yeah.
So,
and
if that's you, I don't work 24/7, right, 7 days a week, but I do work hard, right? And I am available for a conversation, just not all hours of the night. Like, I'm not a texter. I can't text like a schoolgirl. And there's no slight. Have you seen?
There's no slight.
I've got a daughter that's 11. Okay, so I'm just saying. Y'all can respect for the text.
People enjoy that. Some like to call, some like to text. Almost no one likes to email.
Right. Well, I've discovered too over the last several years, I'm 55, right? You see the text, everybody texts today.
Yeah.
Everybody. My grandmother texts, not my grandmother, but my mother-in-law, right? So
that's just what they prefer.
Just not 24/7. So.
I do sleep. Okay, it's not that not all the time. But you get someone who really gets it, and it's like,
oh my God, it's refreshing.
What do you want? Like,
it's empowering.
Yeah.
It gives you, and I talking to Nelson over the years before and after events, the man could get up at 87 and talk for 10 hours and never take a bathroom break, right? It's like he's giving the listener a break.
Right.
It's like, my gosh, well, it rejuvenated him. It invigorated him. It was pretty powerful.
It's really cool. Yeah. And then you think about, like, I have some clients are young, younger than me, 23 years old.
Good for you.
Already paying $40,000 in premium. Going to be paying it for as long as he can.
Why are you trying to throw out the big numbers, man?
Because I'm proud of the kid.
You can move decimal points either way. That's very impressive.
What it was. It is. Yeah.
That's
for him, he's
impressive.
making enough income to be able to pay that much, and he's doing it. He's making the decision. He did his research. He did his reading, and he's able to make that commit. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
About me. It's about him. It's like,
right.
It's impressive. And to see that and hear it and know it and keep up with him and what he's doing in work and what he's planning on doing.
Probably
it's like,
pretty creative young guy.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just saying that you must start wherever you're at in whatever endeavor you're starting.
And that's a legitimate question because people ask, what's the minimum? What's the maximum? Well, I said people ask, not you. So what's the minimum? What's the maximum? Right? Well, there is no maximum. Pay as much as you want. There ain't no minimum either.
Yeah. It's limited by your space between the ears.
Oh yeah. One guy paid $15 a month.
15, like 3. Who's on there? What's that guy's name on the 5? Lincoln. Come on, 5 Lincolns is over saying $15 a month.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But we have great conversations, and it's gonna do great for him. He just maxed out his POA the other day because he got a big check.
Good for him.
It's like, yes,
maxed out his
more
POA.
of that.
He put as much capital into his policy, into the paid up additions rider as it allowed.
Yep.
So,
and he'll do it
good
again
for
next
him.
year. Yeah.
How old is he?
24.
24. That's a good job. So there's not a too small or too young.
Nope.
Is there a too much or too old?
Not that I've encountered.
He took a long time to say no. There's no. No.
No.
No. Okay, good. Well, anything else you want to beat up any theories or topics here before?
I think I covered. That's what I had on my mind today.
Yeah.
Well, we should do a live one of these sometime so people could just tell us what they want to hear about.
No question. Can they tell us now? Can't you? Well, we'll get this one pushed out before. I mean, look. So here we are. The guy comes through town, every month or so. So when he comes through town, we sit down and talk about things and record them. And we have a bank of recorded podcasts and other interviews. And just so we can release them on a consistent basis, because I'm trying to get into the 21st century, and I really don't know the matrix, and I don't care about the matrix and the algorithms and all. That does nothing for me. But I do know that consistent release, you're rewarded in their algorithms.
Yeah.
Right, that's all I know. So we have a bank. We'll just push this one to the forefront of the bank. And then directly stating that, if you have comments or would like for us to cover or answer or talk about particular things, just share them with us. Just be nice, okay? We can all be civil.
We have feelings too.
I mean, I'll erase a troll in a heartbeat. I do not like negativity. I don't, But if they're legitimate and sincere, I'm all over it.
Absolutely.
Right? When they're illegitimate or insincere, I'm just not interested. And I think most people are that way. Right? I mean, we can all be ugly. Just go on Twitter. Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'd love. Live streaming is actually in our future. It's on the schedule for this year, 2019, and so I'd love to interact with people.
That'd be cool. That way we don't have this problem.
Well, man, don't make this pause awkward. I'm kidding.
All right, you got anything else?
No, I've had fun, and I came unscripted. Not like here the studious academician. He's like checks his T's, dots his I's.
3 bullet points.
I mean, I pay attention to detail. I like casual and off the cuff stuff.
As you can tell, hopefully. All right.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, listening, and can't wait to see you the next time.
Yeah. Bye.